Welcome to More Patients, More Impact, More Income, the podcast for real holistic medical practitioners who want to grow their high-impact, high-income practice without selling out. And now, here's your host, Chris Axelrad.
People ask me all the time, like, how do I stay so motivated and continually doing stuff? Because, I generate a lot of stuff. I've got this podcast. I've got these trainings that I do. I've got, my clinic that I work in where, I'm writing emails to my email list. I've done tons of videos for that. Of course, I've got the training that I do on the business and marketing side. And at this point, we're starting to put together the clinical training and really get that fired up. It's been in the works for a year and a half. We had our first group come in and built the foundational content. And now we're fixed to really ramp it up and turn it into some certifications. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I mean, the first key to all that is, you need help. So when people ask me a lot of times, like, how do you do all that stuff? I'm like, I don't do it all. If I did it all, then I would probably be 6 feet under by now. I would have had a stroke. That's one of the keys to, the practice as well, as far as having 3 locations and 7 employees. It would not be able to grow like it does if we didn't have, number one, systems and processes that made things efficient. And number 2, really good people to help carry those out. The practice, the clinic in and of itself is kind of a microcosm for what I want to talk about today, though, which is sort of this building this momentum, and really one of the biggest keys to that and keeping that momentum. Because it's interesting, when I started the clinic, being an acupuncturist, there were a lot of people who doubted what was possible for me. No one's ever, at least no one that I know of in Houston, for that matter. And honestly, very few of the people that I know in the medical field in general have opened a multi-location practice, and certainly not in the field of alternative medicine, quote unquote alternative, because I really don't feel like it's alternative. I feel like the medicine that we practice in the holistic field really is fundamental medicine. And the conventional medicine, while it is important, and you guys know, if I haven't already said it, I definitely do not have an agenda against conventional medicine, because when I need it, I use it. And it's just like anything else. It's a tool, and every tool has the appropriate time and place. So, but to me, conventional medicine should be the alternative, in the sense that if we're taking care of ourselves properly on a holistic level, conventional medicine becomes the last resort. As it well should be. If you're having a heart attack or you're having a stroke, you definitely need to go to the hospital, definitely need to go to the emergency room. If there's a severe infection in your bowel, definitely need to do that. But the whole point of what we do, right, is to help our patients return to a place of self-care and a place of caring for themselves that really reduces and sometimes even eliminates the need for more drastic measures. That's a little sidetrack, but when I think about how my practice has grown and the resources, the people, the opportunities, and everything else that have shown up to be part of it and to help it grow, the one thing that has been the central focus of that is an authentic mission to help other people, a real focus on what am I bringing to the community, what value and help and caring am I bringing to the world, and staying focused on that, making it about that. The more that it's about other people and really being that generator of positivity and light and loving kindness into your community to truly help people who are in pain. The more it's about that, the easier it is to do all the things that you need to do, that the easier it is to motivate yourself to get up and, go out and do that talk that you're scared to do, or go out and meet these people that maybe you're a little intimidated to go meet. To make that decision to, for instance, for me, making the decision to open my second office when, my satellite location. So literally it was like we were going to have two offices in a, basically a place 40 miles away from my first office. That was a big decision. Again, especially being an acupuncturist where, it's not like our industry is flush with cash. It's not like our industry has this huge corporate infrastructure underneath it, or this $1 trillion economy behind it. People like us in the holistic field, we're sort of mavericks, and we're out here really entrepreneurs and carving out our own little place in the world. It was that motivation to go and help more people. We were getting calls from people up there, and they really just didn't have access to something like we do. Like, they didn't have access to the type of service that we offer. So they were calling and they wanted to come, but it was just logistically too difficult for them to come to the clinic. Some would argue like, well, why didn't you just set up an online or, a telemedicine thing or something? And to that, I would just say that I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast. I know I've mentioned it a ton in my trainings, but true, you can do telemedicine, and I'm not saying you can't. I actually had helped a couple. This was about a decade ago. No, maybe their son is like 7 or 8 years old. So it was like 8 years ago. I helped a couple who was they still live in Ecuador, actually, to conceive their son. And we did all that work on Skype. And she worked for an airlines, and what would happen is one of her colleagues would come up to Houston every month, because the headquarters of the airlines is here in Houston, and he would come by the office, or we would courier all of the medicines and the supplements and the herbs to him, and he would take them down with him. And she was able to conceive like that. I mean, so I'm not saying that that's not possible, but there's an added dimension, obviously, when you're physically with people. So to me, it kind of closes the circuit. We want to be physically up there.
If you're ready to fill your practice and keep it full without the stress and overwhelm, then get instant access to your free autopilot patient attraction playbook now at www.highimpactpracticesystems.com/autopilot.
So took the risk, took the leap, made it happen. Of course, I wasn't going to be dumb and take dumb risks that were going to put my family or myself in serious financial jeopardy if things didn't go well. But at the same time, I wasn't making it all about that. I wasn't making it all about the risk to me. It was the excitement and the inspiration that I was getting out of really making that outreach and offering something to these people who, I hate to say the word desperate, just because with the type of medicine that I practice, nobody's in a life or death situation, but they certainly wanted our services, and they were not able to acquire those services in a way that was, specialized like we do. So that was why I did it. And once you do something once, of course, it's easy to do it again. It's easier to do it again. So we opened a third location a few years after that, and now we're in the process of negotiating on a fourth. And it's easy to get lost in feeling sorry for yourself, worrying about yourself, wondering what people are going to think of you, all these kinds of things. Trust me. I mean, when you put yourself out there and you're really in a big way reaching out and saying, hey, I've got something that can help you, and I would love the opportunity to help you. When you're out there and you're reaching out and you're putting that out there, that transmission, that energy reaches a lot of people, and it's easy to start worrying about ourselves. How are we perceived? Is the money going to be well spent? How is this going to affect me? And I'm just going to tell you right now that is the most critical limiting factor to any person who wants to truly grow their business and grow their business with purpose and integrity and focus and do big things. The biggest limiting factor is when you make it more about you than anything else. I struggle with this still. It's funny. I mean, I've come a long way, and I'm definitely very proud to be helping so many people now to find their voice and find their mission and start to really walk that path of growth and service. But that doesn't exempt me from having to deal with some of the ups and downs of this, because growth is never static. If you're going to grow, you're always going to run up against your, some people call it your edge, whatever it is. You're going to run up against areas where you're just not yet quite comfortable. There's just new territory that you're entering, and the instinct is to retreat and withdraw back into ourselves and try to hide and try to go back to what's comfortable. And going back to what's comfortable is always a step back in terms of growth. Doesn't mean we should never do it. Sometimes we need comfort. Sometimes we need to take a step back, slow down, and get to a place where we can just rest and be comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. And I would even say there's nothing wrong with if someone's found that comfort zone in their practice where they don't have to really do anything anymore, just sit back and just allow things to flow. That's fine too. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either. But what I am saying is, if you want to grow, you want to expand your impact, you want the opportunity to help more people and do bigger things, then the more that you're focusing that energy on how you're helping other people and not how it's helping you, that's going to be the thing that's going to keep you going. There's going to be tough times, of course. You're going to have bad days, bad weeks where you just feel uncertain and beat down and not sure of what to do next. But if you can keep yourself locked in on the simplicity of service, and really remember that we are here to lift each other up. We are here because we need help. All of us need help. If we didn't need help, we wouldn't be here on this planet, in this life. I don't know where we would be, but it wouldn't be here. And so the more that we put ourselves into that frame of, you know what, my purpose is to be here to help others, and we live in that frame, that's what's going to help propel us to a place where we can truly start to gain, really serious momentum on the path of doing big things and helping people in big ways. So that's just a really, really important key. Every time that I come back to that, it fires me up. And every time I lose touch with it, I start to feel overwhelmed or unmotivated. And if you want to learn, some of the keys to that, hop on in to, grab your thingy that's being promoted on the podcast. There's a little blurb about, download this thing, hop on into that. It'll get you on my email list. And, there's all kinds of good stuff that I've got for free. I'd love to tell you this is a sales pitch. It's not. I mean, you'll definitely get closer into the ecosystem around the stuff that I teach. You'll have plenty of opportunities to grab free stuff. And a lot of it is centered around this mindset and staying motivated. So that's going to be all. This has been a good one. I've needed to talk about this topic for a little while because it's something we all struggle with. I struggle with it. And I hope that after you listen to this, maybe listen to it a couple more times, that you will not struggle with it as much either. Peace out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.